Are you sick of having all of your hard work go unnoticed? I know that you put in all of the effort, all of the work, and you are adding so much value in your role, but sometimes it just feels like no one can see it but us. Now, there is a way out of this, and it's more in your control than I bet you ever expected. So, I am Kelly Hearn, and you are on the channel for transitional leadership, where we help individuals and businesses make an even bigger impact. And you could have your boss not only notice, but appreciate all you are bringing to the table. And if you don't feel like your boss sees your hard work, I'm curious how you actually describe it. Go ahead, think of an example, okay? Think of an example of what you did, the effort you put in, the work you put forth. What did you do? How would you expect them to see your work, see your worth if you don't? Now, I want to give you an example of this, but first, we are going to just kind of break it down for you a little bit more, all right? Having others see your value starts with you seeing value in yourself. What you tell yourself, what you think about yourself matters so much. And if you are believing that you are just answering questions from your team, you are just monotonously assigning tasks to people, that is the low, low level of value that you are portraying to everyone else. You are lowering your value, even though that is required important work. But if you believe that you are strengthening the financial future of the company because you assigned the analysis to your strongest member of the team, you are elevating that value. Do you hear the difference? I just assigned tasks, or I gave this analysis to my strongest analyst so that I can strengthen the financial future of this company. It's profound. It is a huge difference. Okay, let's think of another one. Maybe you are building best in class employee engagement because you never cancel a one on one. Do you hear how, just going to your meetings as scheduled, just sort of checking the box with your team on one on ones is so very different from building a best in class employee engagement by always attending those one on ones? Do you hear the difference? Do you feel the difference? So again, think about the work that you're doing every day. It doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, supervisor or manager level tasks, but how are you thinking through it? Now, here's the example I wanted to give you. I was talking to a leader a while back, and he had some really lofty ambitions. And I applaud that. That's amazing. He wanted to go from being this very niche supervisor in a claim organization in insurance, and from there, he wanted to go to director over all of claim recoveries and then eventually be the vice president of claims. That is several levels, and most supervisors, even if that is their goal in their head, won't get there, right? Because there's reduced opportunities at each level. You don't need the same amount of vice presidents as you need supervisors. So that's great, and I would love to be able to help him get there. But when I asked him to explain what he had to offer in those next roles, he said, "Well, I'm just a supervisor right now. So right now I'm just doing things like approving time off, managing breaks, that sort of thing. One day, though, one day I'll be in charge." And it's a little bit hard to hear something like that because his head is just in two completely different worlds, right? So, by his words, his contribution today is approving time cards, but he thinks that he's on the road to director and VP. He isn't inspiring anyone to trust him to take on that next level challenge. He isn't inspiring anyone with his aspirations because he's really just listing off roles at that point. When you say, right now I manage breaks, No one walks away from that conversation thinking, that guy is going places. That lady is going places. They manage breaks. It just doesn't work that way, right? Now, let me tell you another story. This one is not mine, but there is a story about JFK touring NASA in the 60s. And he came across this janitor standing in the hallway holding on to a broom. Kennedy introduces himself, and he introduced himself as Jack Kennedy, which I think is pretty awesome on its own. The level of humility it would take for the president to A, think he needs to introduce himself to someone, and B, introduce himself with his nickname instead of saying, I'm Mr. Kennedy or I'm Mr. President or however you would say that. But, anyways, I digress. He introduces himself and he asks the janitor what he's doing. Janitor replies, I'm helping put a man on the moon, Mr. President. And the janitor inspired the president of the United States with his view of his work. Because it's hard not to be inspired by that. It's hard not to be excited about something of that level. I am helping put a man on the moon. How easy would it have been for a janitor to say take a somewhat similar approach as that claims supervisor? He could have said, "Oh, I'm just sweeping the floor. Oh, I'm just finishing up. I'll get out of your way." How many of us would have that sort of reaction if we were talking to the most powerful person in the land, potentially the most powerful person in the world? That janitor just embodied what he brought to the table so much that he didn't miss a beat. I am helping to put a man on the moon. And seeing value in yourself that inspires even the highest ranking people is what you want too, isn't it? Now, there might be some of you watching this thinking, no, I do know my worth. That's why it's frustrating. I am not justing myself. I am not, belittling the work that I do. It's just them who don't see it. And I completely understand because it can be so disheartening when people don't see us the way that we see ourselves. But I have another question for you. Are you communicating the value that you're adding in a way that connects for them, not for you, for them? What if you knew exactly what to say to connect the dots for them? You can help them see exactly what you bring to the table for the work that you're doing today and for those even bigger goals that you have in the future. The Ripple Effect Workshop gives you the exact communication framework to showcase your knowledge and expertise in a way that will have them saying, oh, she not only gets this, but she can totally handle it. You know what I mean? There's a difference between, oh, she can do good work. That's great. Oh, he does a good job and they can handle it. I can just give the ball to them and they can run. Now, this communication framework outlines exactly what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how other people can get on board. And that last part is really critical because it's not even only that you have it handled, that they can trust you to take the ball and run with it, but that you can actually quarterback and captain the team. So if you can handle expense reports today, right? You can handle assigning that analysis at the level you're at. What can you do on an even bigger field? Because you're inspiring them to think bigger about what you're capable of. Now, I know you can do that. I know that you have the skills to take on that bigger field. You know that too. You just need to communicate it in a way that shows them that you can as well. Now, you want the recognition for the amazing work that you're doing. And you know that communicating the best view of yourself is going to get you there. I have to know what is standing in your way. Click the link for the Ripple Effect Workshop and save your seat so that you can learn exactly how to communicate this amazing version of yourself that would have the president himself inspired by you and what you do. We are holding this workshop live on 11/25, so next Monday. Do not miss your chance to get in on this. All right, I hope that this was helpful. Whether or not you take on the Ripple Effect workshop, I hope that you gained something from this video. And if you did, I would highly encourage you to like it and share it so that other people can get the same benefit. Um, and if you have any questions or suggestions or thoughts on the topic, by all means, put a comment below and let me know. All right, thanks.